Hey, my name is Ruth and this is Faye Hollow Homestead, and I am so excited to tell you what I'm about to tell you. You can see my daughter, we're in the food forest. The raspberries are absolutely going crazy right now. But last year in my vegetable garden and somewhat in my food forest too, I had a real problem with voles, and they ate everything. All of my stuff. And every time that I planted anything, I mean, they even attacked my tomatoes, which I didn't even know that they did that. But forget about the root crops. Forget about anything that was underneath the ground. Like, I couldn't plant beans because they would eat the beans before they sprouted. So literally anything that I planted, basically, they destroyed. I tried every method under the sun. I tried sticking chewing gum, juicy fruit chewing gum into the holes. I tried mouse traps. I tried the pinwheels. I tried those sonic stakes that you stick in the ground. I tried shaking the vole scram over the garden, and none of it worked. I'm sure there's some other. I brought the cats in. I let the cats stay in the gardens overnight. You know, I did literally everything that I could think of. And I just couldn't get a hold of them or get a hold of the situation. They just overran me. And I'm pretty sure it's because of one time when I was cleaning out the compost pile and I saw this vole. This is before we had any vole problems. And it was so cute. I didn't know what it was. And so I didn't kill it. Because I had a soft heart, and it came and bit me in the butt later on. Anyway, so gosh, I wish I could go back and change that. So starting early this spring, my mother-in-law and I talked about it, and we decided there's only one plan of action to do. And so I had to redo the entire vegetable garden and start from scratch, basically. So this is that process, and it took, I'm always overly optimistic. I thought 2 weeks maybe. No, it was like 4 times as long as I thought it was going to take. So it took between a month and a half and 2 months. Not quite 2 months totally, but oh my goodness. But it's done now, and I want you to see what it looks like in the process. So I hope you enjoy. Okay, so this is a before. I've already took out a bunch of weeds, as you can see. But this is what it looks like right now. Pretty gnarly. We're gonna have to dig out all these beds, move them off to the side. We thought we were gonna do the wood like this on the edges, but we're not gonna do that. We changed our mind. So we're gonna have to take this out, and then we're gonna staple the fencing to the bottom of the wood, so they can't work their way between where the fencing is and where the wood is on both sides. And then we're gonna have to reshovel all the dirt back on top. There's gonna be 3 beds total in here. There's gonna be 1 3-foot bed, and the rest of them are gonna be 2.5 feet wide. Yeah, it's gonna be a lot of work. Step 1 of 800 is complete. Now the fence is laid down, or the hardware cloth underneath. We got stapled to the edge of the boards right here. And this is 1/4-inch cloth, so there's no way any voles are gonna be getting up out of this or through it. So I'm gonna transfer all this dirt to this side, and then we're gonna put the other boards in and then staple it to those. And then we can even out the dirt and we'll be done. So I got the middle all stapled in at the bottom there. You can kind of see on the end. I'm filling in the ends. I'm trying to make this pathway a little bit flat. And what I decided here was I'm gonna put a supporting piece of wood, just kind of like this, right here, and create a step. So I can make this a little bit flatter here. And the idea, it was such a steep hill right there that it was coming up almost completely to the top of this piece of wood and burying it. And so the voles would have just been able to climb right over that couple inches. And they still might be able to climb over this, but it's about 12 inches high, so I'm hoping that maybe not. But they definitely could have done the 1 or 2 inches that was there. So I'm gonna create a step right there across, and then I gotta dig this out, which is nice. I mean, this has been mulched over many years in a row, and so I know that this soil right here, I scraped off all the top mulch, which wasn't a lot, because it all composted. So this is some really good soil right here. You can see when I start getting to the bad soil, it starts looking light brown. So this is about the level. So see, here's good soil, and then just right below that is the bad soil. But that was a good 4 or 5 inches down, so that's good stuff. So I got it all smoothed out now. It looks pretty good. I'm just putting on a layer of this really amazing compost that I got from a guy who just loves to make compost, and he's local, and it's just, I mean, it's really good stuff. So I'm going to try to put about a 2-inch layer on top. This is all really good soil anyways. Last fall I put a whole bunch of compost in it. I put a whole bunch of chicken droppings and bedding and stuff in here, and I just let it sit all winter. And that's after years of no dig and just putting leaf mold pile after leaf mold pile on it. And first off, using a good 5-inch layer of cow manure and horse manure compost. So this is all really good stuff, but I still want to layer a couple inches of compost on top, and then I've got my first bed done. And there it is, all done, compost on top, and it's really pretty. So the rest of the garden is going to look like that, hopefully within the next couple weeks. But in the meantime, I can now plant this, and we are still 2 weeks before our last frost date, so I'm not too late. It's okay. And while I'm doing this heavy work of building this, my mother-in-law, who is now retired and enjoys gardening with me, will be weeding, and we will eventually hopefully get a load of mulch in here so I can really just layer the path. This is going to be another bed right here, the start of it right there, and just layer all the paths in here really good. I've got a guy who's going to hopefully bring a dump truck full soon, because that will just complete the look. And we are moving along, so I've got to add another line or the other side of this one now, and I've already gotten this one planted because why not, because it's already here. So we've got potatoes and onions and corn growing in this one, and I'm really excited to have all those grown together. And soon, hopefully today, this one will be done. You can see the holes that they make though right here, and that's definitely what he's watching right now. Maybe this time he'll get them. Maybe this one you'll do in, or at least take it somewhere else. Okay, so I realize I have to move these poles now because I didn't really measure them to be at a certain width or height or whatever. And I want them to be exactly 31 inches from the inside of this right here to where they are, so that pathway has 31 inches. It will actually end up being around 29 and a half, because these poles are going to be outside of my new box that I'm going to put down here, and that's just because I can't put anything into the ground of the box because it's got that fence underneath. So these need to be on the outside. I can still do the tomatoes with it very easily, so I'm not worried about that. All the tomatoes are going to have to be on this edge of the garden bed though, so gotta pull these out. Nothing's ever easy. You can't ever just, things don't ever just fall into place around here, do they? But we're working on it. Okay, so the cool thing is I found out that if I put these 25 inches away from this bed, and I know that these are tight pathways. I know that, and I'm not going to be able to get a wheelbarrow down. That's okay. The main priority is food. I can walk things a few feet. That's fine. If I do it at 25 inches, I can have a 3-foot bed here, and then I have enough room to have another 24-inch, 25-inch walkway, and then have another 2-inch bed, and then have another walkway before the next bed. Now maybe it doesn't look like it because all these plants have come out of their beds into the pathway, and so it looks like that bed is bigger than it is, but I can actually push that bed back quite a bit. So I'm actually going to be able to get 2 more garden beds in here, another 3-foot and another 2-foot, and that's really exciting because I only have 1 3-foot right now, and then I have this 2-foot one. So it'll almost be the pattern. It'll be 3 2 3 2. Yay! So it is taking me a very long time to do this. 1, because I'm busy with other things as well during this time. 2, because it's been raining quite a lot. And 3, because it's just a very long process to dig out this hill and make these beds. So if you see the first bed that I made, the potatoes, as soon as I build them, I plant them, right? So the potatoes are going crazy in here. We've got corn growing in here. We've got onions growing in here. And so that was the first one I did. So those are going really good. Second one I did, we've got our peppers. We got more onions because onions are the best to plant with everything, right? And I've got sweet potatoes in this bed as well. And we've got the trellises up finally. And I've got loofah and some rampiacante. I think that's how you pronounce it. But some climbing zucchini. I've got some cucumbers, some more like a very small type of winter squashes growing. And then I finally today finished the 3rd bed, got the tomatoes planted, got the trellis strings up, and I'm really excited about that. I've got room for 1 more bed that I've started right here. It's only going to be a skinny bed, just like the pepper bed right here. But things are coming along. I'm really excited. Now I've had to build stairs into the side of the hill here. Otherwise, when I'm have the slope of the hill here would make it so that the voles would very easily be able to climb into these beds here. So I had to try to keep it as high as I possibly could off the ground. So now we have stairs, which took more time. And then I've got I've got boards cut to be up against this bed. I've got them coming all the way down here. I've got a sledgehammer because I've gotten down to the point where there's rocks, really big rocks. And there's one right here, and it's big enough where I can't dig it out. So I'm just going to hit it with a sledgehammer a bunch in order to be able to get this board down enough in order to get this edge of the bed tucked away with that board. I never thought that I'd be using a sledgehammer in the garden, but here we are. And this bed, my garden kind of does like it's straight here, but then it comes in kind of at an angle this way. And so I have plenty of room to make a 2-foot bed right here and then have a walkway, but it gets skinnier as I go up there. So I think this bed's going to be kind of like a triangular shape, and the front edge of it is going to end up just kind of curving in, I guess. I don't know. I ran out of compost, so I only composted the tomatoes. I'm going to do another compost run real soon and be able to fill in the rest of the bed with compost, but that's all I've got for right now. So in order to get to this trellis and to get to all this garden space and the beds and actually be able to see the elecampane here and everything else, I had to rip out an extraordinary amount of hops. If you guys plant hops, just know that the roots travel. I had roots from the hops, which the main plant is planted right there. I had hops plants growing over here, popping up, and it would travel under the ground by these root shoots. And I mean, they're like rope, they're this big, and they they're everywhere. It was very difficult. I also was sweating a lot while I was doing it, and I was wearing short sleeves and shorts, and I got these welts and scratches all over my arms and legs, and I had to take Benadryl. It was so bad. I couldn't even make a fist because my hand was so swollen. It was ridiculous. And it was all over my legs. So when you guys are working with hops, just be aware that it may not be bad right then, but these little Velcro pieces on it that make it stick to everything, those little hairs will get into your skin and it'll be bad. So be careful. Okay, I gave it what I could, but I think it was afraid of my husband. Oh my goodness, it just disintegrated as soon as my husband started hitting it. The sledgehammer has power, but when you add a lot of brute strength behind that power, oh my goodness, it disintegrated. That was pretty cool. So I'm in the garden and I am finishing up the raised beds in the veggies area, which is really exciting. This has been a lot of work. It has been really hard. A lot of sweat has gone into this. So much sweat. More sweat than I want to talk about, actually. And I am joined by the cuteness. This is little man right here. Not sure what his name's going to be yet, but he's super cute. Daisy is in the house sleeping on my daughter. So I only got the one, but that's okay. He's just out. Okay, let me show you what I got going on with this. Okay, so this is the last one. I got to put a little bit more. I ran out of wire, so I got another roll. Finish that up on the end there. And I just got to screw in some screws. If you see, I got edging. He's so distracting. He's just the cutest. I got edging all the way around the garden now, which is really nice. That stake I couldn't get out, or I couldn't get in all the way, so I need to cut that off with the chainsaw a little bit. And other than that, everything's looking pretty good. I can start getting some of this scrap wood and put it in the food forest, and then I'll be able to start doing the raised beds there. So I'm out here in the garden and I finished the last bed in the vegetable garden. I terraced the garden. All I got to do is just put dirt in there, and I got to wheelbarrow that in. I got to wheelbarrow that down these stairs, which are substantial stairs, and I love the garden. Obviously, I mean, this is like my life. There's just some days where I just don't want to do all the work, and I don't know, lately I have just been so tired. I'm so tired, and I took a nap today. I took a nap yesterday. I'm not a napping person, but anyway, I just couldn't keep my eyes open. But anyway, so it's been hard to get out here. I don't know if you guys can relate to that at all, or if you just have days where you do not want to put in the work, but I'm so close to being done. All I gotta do is fill that in and I can start growing stuff, and I can't grow things until that dirt's in there. Usually when I get to this point, I am so excited that I can't stop myself, and I usually end up out here until like midnight working on things because it's so close to being done. If you see, I've got the wire in there. It's higher up on the edges here because this is a skinny bed, but I was not able to use as much of the bed dirt as I was in these. These basically filled themselves, but this is kind of a new bed. This is not in a spot where there was a garden bed before. So there was nothing to really draw from. It's all kind of just gross sand, soil. Anyway, so I'll be shoveling a lot of dirt, filling this bed, doing the work because the results are worth it. And I love it. Just having a hard time today. Okay, so I am finally done. it got too dark last night for me to do a sign off, and so I'm just going to show you real quick what the beds look like. I did finish doing all the wheelbarrowing. Thankfully, I have compost to put in here. I have this awesome compost guy that I go to, and I mean, he really knows his stuff. He's making this incredible compost, and I never have to worry about it. I mean, really good stuff. So I'm thankful. I am so thankful. And I needed every single little bit of it that I had. I will be visiting him again. And thankfully, he loves what he does, and he is kind enough and generous enough to let me pay what I can for it. And I know a lot of the places around here, and in most places, they charge an arm and a leg for good compost. And so I am deeply indebted to this man. So let me show you what it looks like. Okay, here we go. We've got the edging all around the garden, and we've got 1, 2, 3, 4 beds. And excuse the construction mess. I haven't cleaned up from building them yet. So I also had to make the stairs, and got my little puppies with me today. We have decided to call sweet little Stella Daisy. So her name is officially Daisy now, and she's sweet as all get out. And we don't know the name for this guy yet. I just call him Bowser. So here it is. I got my nice little seating spot right up there. We've got our tomato trellis for this big bed right here. This is a 2-foot bed. This is 2 foot. It moves down to like 1.5 feet down there, but it's still a substantial and good bed to have. I got my trellises, had to figure out how to do that with the smaller alleys, but it's all coming together really good. And we have our first sunflower blooming, 2 of them. Really excited about those. Those are self-sown, so that makes me really happy. And I could not be more happy with how this turned out. So this project has taken me officially a month and a half. I started in the middle of May. A little bit over a month and a half. It has been hard. It is so hard to level this and to shovel all the dirt multiple times to get it out of the way, and then put it into another spot, and then be able to get back into the bed, and building the beds and having to find the materials for the beds. And I needed certain types of boards, so my husband would bring home, when he found them, he'd bring them home, and sometimes I had to wait a little while for that. Making the stakes on the side in order to really secure them in. Just measuring everything out, making sure everything was exactly where it needed to be. It was hard. This is probably one of the most difficult projects I've done, and I didn't think it was actually going to get done. I'm glad that I planted as I made them, so you can see this was the first one, obviously, and I haven't figured out what I'm going to put in that last bed yet, but it's going to be something good, because you can't grow something that's not good. There's just no way. So now I got to build 2 more in the food forest, because I want to raise up those beds and put a Vole-Proof wire underneath of them, because they just really, the voles are just destroying everything that I want to grow in these beds. And so finally, I feel like I've defeated the voles in the areas that are really important. All the edge beds, they don't have the stuff underneath of them, so the voles still have free reign of that, but those are mostly herbs, and they don't really bother them too much. So, and nothing up there is done. That'll be a project for another day, but I'm really excited that it's over. I'm excited that I can grow things without worrying about the voles. I finally have succeeded against the voles. So anyway, thanks for sticking with me with this one. I'm sure it was a long one. I hope you guys have a fabulous day, and stay blessed.